Welcome to my channel. I hope you like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet these little pants or trousers for baby boys and girls between 0 and 3 months. They're very easy to make. I made them to match the little sweater that I showed you, the Thomas cardigan, along with the matching little hat. In the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you links to those tutorials, so be sure to check that out. Now, to make the little pants, and actually the whole set, this is the yarn that I used. For the little pants in the main color, which is this blue haze color, I used a total of 70 grams and about 20 grams in the color white. You will need less or more depending on the size that you make. You can make your baby pants from a newborn size and up to 24 months using standard size measurements that I'm going to provide you with in the information box. You can also use any yarn weight with any hook size since you're going to be following those measurements. Or if you prefer to use a smaller or bigger hook size, I'll go ahead and also leave that information in the information box, so be sure to look there. And as always, if you prefer a written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box and up here on the right hand side. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe, activate the notifications bell, and remember, all of my tutorials are always in English and in Spanish. Thanks so much for watching. To begin, I'll be using this 5mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this number 4 yarn. I'm going to start with white, and then for the body of the baby pants, I'm going to use the blue haze color. Now, you can also use any Aran weight or 10 ply. At the beginning of the video, I showed you the yarn that I'm using, and I told you how much yarn we're going to need for the 0 to 3 month size. You can also make your baby pants from a newborn size and up to 24 months using standard size measurements for pants. In the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you those measurements so that you can make your baby pants in any of those sizes. I'm going to be making the 0 to 3 month size. So here, to begin, the first thing that we need to do is our chain. Now, this chain here is going to be our foundation chain for the waistband, and the measurement that this chain needs to be in is the measurement for the waist. Again, in the information box, you can find those measurements. So for my chain here, I have a total of 60 chains, and it's measuring about 40 centimeters or about 15.75 inches, which is within the measurements that I have for the 0 to 3 month size. If you're making it for any other size, just go ahead and make your chain within the measurement that I have there, and make sure that it's in multiples of 2. So to begin here, we're going to join in the round, and we're going to go into the first chain. Make sure that your chain is not twisted, and join with a slip stitch. There. Now, to begin the first row of the waistband, you're going to chain 1. Now, into this first chain, make a half double crochet. Half double crochet into the next chain, a half double crochet into the next, and so on. For this first row of the waistband, this is all we're going to do. 1 half double crochet for each chain, so that at the end of this first row, you have a total of 60 half double crochets. I'll meet you at the end. I finished the first row. I have a total of 60 half double crochets. Now, to finish the first row, we're going to go on top of the first half double crochet, and we're going to join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the first row of the waistband here. Now, for row 2, we're going to chain 1. Now, this chain here at the beginning of row 1 and 2 will never count as a stitch. So for the second row, I'm going to start with a front post half double crochet into the first half double crochet, into the next one a back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, back post half double crochet into the next, and so on. For the second row and the third row, this is what we're going to do. Front post and back post half double crochets. Continue, finish this second row. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this second row. In this row, I did front post and back post half double crochets. My last stitch here is a back post half double crochet. To finish the second row, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 3, we're going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to chain 1, and beginning with this first stitch here, I'm going to make a front post half double crochet into the next back post half double crochet into the next front post half double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for this third row. I'm just going to work these stitches exactly how they are. Front post and back post half double crochets. Continue, finish this third row. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the third row. Here's my last stitch. It's a back post half double crochet. I have 60 stitches at the end of this row. To finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now I've cut my yarn. I'm going to pass my yarn through this last loop, and the waistband is done, and this is how it looks. This here, it's measuring about, I would say, a little bit over an inch. Let's see. Yes, it's about 1.5 inches. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this like this, so that now we are here at the beginning. This would be row 1, and these are the chains. What I'm going to do is, with the same hook size and this blue haze yarn color that I showed you at the beginning, I'm going to go in between these first 2 stitches right here. You can go in between the next 2, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go right here, right where we started. Here's that tail end. So I'm going to go right here in between these first 2 stitches. I'm going to grab a loop here, bring it through, and I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. These 2 chains will never count as a stitch. Now, beginning into this same space here, I'm going to make a double crochet. In between the next 2, make a double crochet. In between the next 2, make a double crochet, and so on. So here we're going to be working double crochets in between the stitches, or after a half double crochet, like this, all around for this first row of the body. Continue like this, finish the first row, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the first row of the body. I have 60 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 2, chain 2. Remember, the 2 chains never count. Now in this row, all I'm going to do is double crochets. So beginning on top of the first stitch, make a double crochet on top of the next, double crochet on top of the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to work the second row. Continue all around, finish the second row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the second row. I have 60 double crochets, not including the 2 chains. To finish this row, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish the second row. Now for row 3, we're going to chain 2. Now in this row, I'm going to work front post and back post double crochets. I'm doing these little pants to match this little sweater. So the pattern here is going to consist of 2 rows of double crochets, and then in the third row we do front post and back post double crochets. That's how I did the little sweater and the little hat. So these little pants are going to be done in the same way. So here for the third row, beginning with this first double crochet, start with a front post double crochet into the next, back post double crochet into the next, front post double crochet, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue, just alternating between a front post and a back post double crochet, and at the end of this third row I'm going to have 60 stitches. And actually at the end of every row from here on, we're always going to have 60 stitches. So continue, finish the third row. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the third row. In this row I did front post and back post double crochets. I have 60 stitches, not including the 2 chains. Now to finish this row, we always go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. From here on, like I said, you're going to repeat these 3 rows. 2 rows of double crochets, and then in the third row, front post and back post double crochets, and at the end of each row we're always going to have 60 stitches. So here I'm going to start you off for row 4 and 5. We're going to do the same thing. chain 2, beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet on top of the next, double crochet on top of the next, and so on. For this fourth row and row 5, this is all you're going to do. Now to finish the row, you always go on top of the first double crochet, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then for row 5, repeat the same thing. After you finish row 5, you're going to join, chain 2, and then repeat the same thing I did here in the third row. And that's how we're going to continue for the rest of the baby pants. I'm doing this for 0 to 3 months, so the measurement that I'm going to need here is the second measurement, which is the rice measurement from the waist. Now, if you're making these pants in any other size, just continue repeating these 3 rows until you have that second measurement, which is the rice measurement from the waist. And continue watching. I will let you know how many rows I'm going to do here for my baby pants, so I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished the body of the baby pants. Now I have done a total of 9 rows. We have 3, 6, 9. 9 rows. It's measuring from the top of the waist to the end of the last row. It's measuring about 14 centimeters, which is about 5.5 inches. Make sure that whatever number of rows you have here, if you're making this in a different size, that you end exactly how I did here, where the last row is the row of front post and back post double crochets. That way we continue in the same way, no matter how many rows you have here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to separate the legs. Now I have placed some stitch markers. For the back side, I have marked 4 double crochets. That's 2, 4. This here is the 2 chains, which do not count. For each one of the legs, I'm going to have 26 stitches. So here's a stitch marker. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. Place a stitch marker after the 26th stitch, and then you're going to mark 4 stitches for the front. That's 2, 4, and then place a stitch marker after the 4th. And now for the second leg, same thing. I have 26 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, and then I have my stitch marker. So here to begin, we're going to separate the legs first. So here we're going to chain 2, and beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet on top of the next, a double crochet. Now to separate the legs, chain 1, skip 26 double crochets, and into the stitch after the stitch marker, make a double crochet. So now I'm going to work 1 double crochet into the next 3. So here for the front, I have these 4 double crochets. Chain 1 again and turn here, or skip 26 stitches, and into the stitch after the stitch marker, make a double crochet on top, a double crochet on top of the next. So here for the back side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. I've already cut my yarn, and I'm just going to pass my yarn through that last loop. So this part here is done. If you want to add more chains here, I only added 1. You can. There is no stitch multiple, so you can add more chains if you want. For the size that I'm making, this opening here, it's perfect. I don't need to add more chains, but you can add more if you want. Now, what we're going to do next is, this here is the back side, so I'm going to go here to the left side. We're going to do this leg first. So to begin, I'm going to go here in the chain space, bring a loop through. Now, make sure you leave a nice tail here. Once we're done, we're going to close this gap here. That's why I like to leave a nice tail here, so make sure you do the same. I'll show you how we're going to do that at the end. So here, we're going to chain 2 and then make a double crochet. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to double crochet 2 together, because I don't want a gap between this double crochet and this one here. See, this is the first stitch that we left for the legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over, insert your hook into this double crochet. This is the 4th double crochet out of the 4 that we have for the back side. Insert your hook into that space, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook. Now yarn over, go on top of the first stitch here out of the 26, insert your hook, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. So here's that double crochet 2 together that we did here, so there's no gap between the first and the next stitch. Now all we're going to do here all around is just make double crochets like this. Here we have 26 for the leg, so continue like this. I'll meet you here at this other end before we finish the first row. I'm almost done with this first row for the first leg. Now up to here I have 26 double crochets. I still have 1 stitch left here. Now here I'm going to work a double crochet 2 together. So to do this, I'm going to yarn over, insert your hook into the last stitch, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook into this space here. These are the 4 double crochets into the last double crochet here into that space. Insert your hook, grab a loop, 3 loops on the hook, close. Here's that double crochet 2 together, and now to finish, just go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish row 1 for the first leg. Now I have a total of 27 double crochets. If you added more chains here under the leg, just make 1 double crochet for each chain. You can have any number of stitches here. There is no stitch multiple, so make sure that you measure this or try this on your baby. Make sure that it fits. For the size that I'm making, 27 double crochets is more than enough. It's fine. Babies, when they're little, they're not that big around the legs, so it's fine. So now for row 2, chain 2, beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet and a double crochet on top of each one of these stitches, so that at the end of this second row I have 27 double crochets. Continue, finish this second row. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the second row. I have 27 double crochets, not including the 2 chains. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 3 here, I'm going to do the row of front post and back post double crochets. So chain 2, and beginning with the first double crochet, which is the same one that we joined into, you're going to make a front post double crochet, back post double crochet into the next, front post double crochet into the next, and so on. Continue like this for this third row, just alternating between front post and back post double crochets. I'll meet you at the end of this third row. I'm here at the end of the third row. In this row I did front post and back post double crochets. This is the leg here. I have a total of 27 stitches, and my last stitch here is a front post double crochet. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now for row 4 and 5, we're going to chain 2. So beginning on top of the first stitch, make a double crochet, on top of the next a double crochet, and so on. For rows 4 and 5, we're going to make double crochets, and then in row 6 we're going to make the row front post and back post double crochets, and that's how you're going to continue for the rest. It's the same thing we did here for the body. You're going to continue here until you have the measurement for the length of the leg. That's that third measurement that I'm going to leave in the information box, minus 1 or 2 rows. I'm going to do the bottom of the baby legs like this, where I did front post and back post half double crochets in white. Continue watching. I will let you know how many rows I'm going to do here for this size, but if you're making this in any other size, you would just continue repeating the 3 rows until you have that measurement, and like I said, minus 2 rows. I don't know, maybe 2-3 rows. I think 2 would be fine. And then we're going to do the bottom of the leg. So continue watching. I will meet you at the end of that row. I finished making the leg. I did a total of 11 rows. We have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Now This part here, the leg, it's measuring about 12.5 centimeters, which is about 5 inches. It's a tiny bit longer than the measurement that I have. It's okay. So what we're going to do next is the bottom of the leg, and I'm going to do it like this, where I do front post and back post half double crochets. So here at the end of row 11, I just cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop. So for row 1 here of the bottom of the leg, I'm going to grab a loop here, bring it through, chain 1, and then I'm going to start with a front post half double crochet into the next, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how you're going to continue here for the bottom of the leg, just alternating between a front post and a back post half double crochet. Now once you finish this row, you're going to join here to the beginning with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing for row 2. I think I'm only going to do 2 rows, but continue watching. I will let you know how many rows I'm going to do. So finish this part, and then I'll come back and show you how to make the second leg. I finished making the last 2 rows. Now here at the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn and pass my yarn through this last loop, and this leg is done. Now you're going to do exactly the same thing we did here on this side. You're going to do it here for this side. It's done exactly in the same way. I'm going to start you off here. So to begin, I'm going to insert my hook here into this chain space. I'm going to grab a loop here and bring it through, and I'm going to chain 2. Now into this same space here, make a double crochet, and now I'm going to double crochet 2 together so there's no gap between the first and the next stitch. So here, yarn over, insert your hook into this space right here where we have this double crochet. These are the 4 double crochets here for the front side. Insert your hook into that space, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook on top of the first double crochet out of the 26 that we left for the leg, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Here's the double crochet 2 together. This stitch here counts as 1 double crochet. Now continue all around, just making double crochets. I will meet you here at the end to show you how we're going to finish this first row to the second leg. I'm here at the end of this first row for the second leg. Now up to here I have 26 double crochets. I still have 1 stitch left. So here at the end we're going to work a double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, insert your hook into this last double crochet, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the space here where we have the 4 double crochets. Here at the end, insert your hook, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Here's that double crochet 2 together. Now I have 27 stitches, so to finish the row, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And here is the first row for the second leg. From here on, we're going to continue and repeat the same thing we did here for the first leg. I need to make 1 more row of double crochets. So for row 2, I'm going to start you off here, chain 2, and beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet on top of the next, and so on. For row 2, this is all we're going to do, double crochets all around. At the end of this row, we're going to have 27 double crochets. And to finish the row, you're going to go here on top of the first stitch, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, and then repeat the row of front post and back post double crochets. And that's how you're going to continue for the rest of the leg until you have 11 rows. After the 11 rows, you're going to change yarn color and finish here the bottom of the leg with 2 rows of front post and back post half double crochets. Continue and finish the second leg, and then I'll come back and show you the finished baby pants. I finished making the second leg. I did it exactly in the same way how I showed you here with the first leg. So these baby pants are all done. Now I went ahead and hid all my ends, as you can see. It's all done. Here around the waist, all I did was just make a long chain. This is about 90 chains, and I just weaved it here in the center row, row 2. And all you do is just pass the chain through a yarn needle, and then just weave it all around the waist, and then just tie a little knot here if you want. And this is how it looks. Baby pants are all done to match the little sweater that I showed you already, this one here, and the little hat. I'll leave links to these tutorials down here in the information box. Now, one last thing I want to show you is how to close the bottom here. I know many of you ask that I show this part, so I left this here open, and I'm going to show you here. So here we have 3 tail ends. We have one in the center, we have one on either side. I like to go here, this one on this side, because it's easier. If you do the center, you would have to do the center and then this side and then come back and do this other side. I like to just leave a long tail end here when I'm starting the legs, so that I can close this part. So here with a yarn needle, you're going to go here in the very center. We have these 4 stitches, 4 on either side. So all you do is just match these stitches like this. Insert the needle through both loops and just go like this. I think this is the blanket stitch, I'm not sure. Just go over like this, stitch together the sides, and here at the end it's done. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. See, that was very easy. So now all you do is just hide all of these ends. I'll go ahead and do that afterwards. So let me give you the finished measurements now, the little pants. So this here is for 0 to 3 months, so I followed the measurements for that size. So let me tell you what the finished measurements are. From the top of the waist to the end of the leg, it's measuring about 15 centimeters, which is about 6 inches. From the crotch to the end of the leg, it's measuring about 14.5 centimeters, which is about 5.75 inches. And this measurement here, just the top, it's measuring about 22 centimeters, which is about 8.5 inches. So based on these measurements, these little pants, like I said, are for 0 to 3 months, and I made them to match this little sweater that I showed you already. So if you want to see this tutorial and the little hat, just go in the information box or click the little lamb next to my channel name. It'll take you to my main channel, and in the main page you will find a link to all of the English tutorials and the Spanish tutorials. They're all separate, so you can go in there, you can find those tutorials there and more. So if you want to make matching booties, I'll leave links also for that in the information box. I have lots of tutorials where I show you how to make baby booties, so I'll leave those tutorials there in the information box. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you prefer written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box and up here on the right hand side. Thank you so much for your support.